An older gentleman told me I had issues with women. I was really insecure about a lot of things, and this person told me, "You know what? I'm gonna tell you something, and I hope this sticks with you." And he said, "You need to change the way that you think about this situation. You need to stop worrying about finding the right woman and worry about being the right man." Welcome to the Alpha Social Club. I am your host, Esteban. Thank you guys for joining me again. I really appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate the feedback that I've been getting. It feels really good to know that some of you guys are connecting with what I'm trying to say. It's not for everybody, but I think it's important for us to start a community. I feel like, with recently what I've been looking or reading up in the news and just kind of seeing articles and stuff, it's definitely a time for us to kind of come together and try to help each other out. We just had a mass shooting here in California. Apparently, a vet that was suffering from PTSD, he went into like a country bar out in the valley, not too far from where I'm at, and he just kind of snapped, you know. And what if that person just needed somebody to talk to? What if that person just kind of needed somebody to know that they care about them? So I think about stuff like that. Especially as men, the way we're portrayed in the media and the way people talk to us about our privilege. I definitely feel that it's putting a lot of guys in a situation where they feel vulnerable. Jordan Peterson said that something he said in his podcast really kind of echoed in my beliefs. He said that there's nothing more dangerous than a weak man, a man that feels that everything is taken from him, he has no value. If you look at the news or read online, there's a movement with the feminist movement, which I have nothing against the feminist movement. I just don't see eye to eye with certain groups of that movement that think that they can empower themselves by belittling guys. And those are definitely the ones that I kind of don't see eye to eye with. Because if there's something that Buddhism taught me, is that in order to understand, in order to be understood, you first have to understand. You can't empower your movement or the person that you think you are by belittling a different group that doesn't have the same views that you do. And I definitely think that that affects, the population because if you really analyze what Dr. Peterson said, there's nothing more dangerous than a weak man. You know that there's definitely a need for something like this to come out and kind of promote more of a unity. I'm not trying to bash women or anything. I don't feel like some of that movement is very helpful to society. So all I'm saying is we have to stick with each other. We have to be able to help each other and be there for each other. Every time something like this happens, it hits home a little bit because I grew up in Linwood, which is a city right next to Compton, California. It's not the safest neighborhood. There was a lot of violence there. There was a lot of domestic violence. There was a lot of things that we had to navigate through, whether it be the streets, whether it be at home. There was always something that we had to deal with. I remember my first incident with racism in the 90s in Linwood wasn't what everybody labels racism nowadays. My first encounter with racism was not whites being racist towards other groups. My first encounter with racism was brown being racist towards blacks and blacks being racist towards browns. We had race riots. We would fight against each other. There were stabbings. People would stab each other with pencils in the neck. Kids would attack. I remember vividly in algebra class, there was a black teacher that was attacked by a couple of Mexican gangsters. They call them essays. They had the poor teacher in a headlock. There was racism within ourselves. I mean, some of the most racist people that I've met have been Mexicans and blacks. Everybody has people in their groups that can be labeled racist. It doesn't just apply to white people. And that's something that I understood because I've seen it firsthand. It still happens to this day. The other day, a buddy of mine, he drives for Lyft and he has a full beard. He looks Middle Eastern Muslim, and he said that he picked up a Latina woman, and she right away asked him, "Oh, you speak Spanish?" And he was like, "Yeah, I speak Spanish." And she tested his Spanish by asking him a few questions. And then she was like, "Oh, good, because if you were Muslim, I would have canceled this ride." And she was Hispanic. I'm assuming she was Mexican. The point is that she was Hispanic, and that's a pretty racist remark. So growing up in Linwood in the 90s, it was definitely interesting. I was exposed to a lot of things. I used to have a friend named Mario, Mario Padilla. I met this kid in elementary, and he was always very shy, reserved. He was always, his posture was, his shoulders were slouching forward, and he was kind of like, he looked at you like he was staring at the sun, kind of with his eyes kind of closed, like very shy and reserved. And I kind of gravitated towards him. I was like, "Hey, what's up, Mario? How's your day going?" And he would just kind of look at me like, "Oh, I'm doing good." And I remember that there was kids at school that would kind of bully him a little bit. Not necessarily like punch him or shove him against the lockers, but we the recess area where we used to play, it shared a fence with like a residential area. So if you kicked the ball over the fence from our school, it landed in somebody's backyard. And so the game to play that we all loved was kickball. And we would kick the ball often over the fence into the neighbor's backyard, and we would say, "Hey Mario, go get the ball for us." And he wanted to fit in, so he did it. He was just a nice kid. So he would always go over the fence, and there was dogs and stuff like that. So I was always like, "Oh man, thanks Mario." I was always appreciative, or always appreciated what he did for us. And we kind of we lost track. We went into junior high, and when we entered junior high, I think we had too many students in high school, so they separated us by tracks. So it was X, Y, and Z track. At any given time, two tracks were on campus, and one track was on vacation. So it was called year round, I guess. I guess that's what they call it. So I lost track of Mario, and I ended up seeing him back in high school. I had him for a history class, and he was still the same Mario, reserved. At that point, he was rocking the Hawaiian shirts with jeans, with like thermal long sleeve undershirts with a Hawaiian shirt, sleeves, and then at the time we were wearing Airwalks, so he would wear Airwalks, and he sat in the back of the class, and I would still kind of make my way towards him and be like, "What's up, Mario? How you been?" "Oh, I'm good." Still really reserved and quiet. And there was this girl in school. Her name was well, I'm not gonna name her name. I'm just gonna keep it anonymous because this story is actually, it made headline news. But there was this girl. She was really popular. She was one of the popular girls. I even tried to get talk to her and stuff, and she rejected me. I still remember what she told me. She was like, "Oh, you look like you'll be cute when you're older." And I was like, "What does that mean?" She was nice about it, but she was basically telling me like, you're not that cute right now, but when you're older, you'll probably be cute. So let's talk then. And so I still remember that. And Mario just kind of got obsessed with her. He developed an obsession, and somehow he got her phone number, and he would call her, and she was nice at first and talked to him and stuff like that, but he got creepy. He started calling her more often. He started calling her late at night and just talking weird stuff to her. And he also started bothering another girl from school, and the families were involved, and the parents kind of came to school and talked to the principal, and they explained to them what was going on, and this was before everything. So he ended up recruiting his cousin that was 14 at the time. He was obsessed with the movie Scream, the one with the long white mask. And so what Mario decided to do is he decided to that he was going to get money, and with that money he was going to buy the Scream outfit, and he was going to come to our school and shoot the school. So part of the plan was they need to find a way to get money because they were poor high school kids. So Mario decided that he was going to rob his mom and recruited his cousin that was younger than him. I think Mario at the time was 16, and his cousin was 14. So I don't know what happened in Mario's head. We both essentially we both got rejected by the same girl in school. I took that and was pretty bummed with it, and I still remember that. But Mario just snapped. What was it about it that I reacted that way and he snapped? I can never understand that, which is the same way I can't understand how somebody can go into a bar and open fire on people and eventually turn the gun on themselves, which is something that's happening more often. A lot of people always look at somebody like that and think, oh my God, I could never do that. How could that person do that? The problem with that statement is that they're looking at that person through their experiences, the life that they lived. And you have to be able to understand that in order to put yourself in their shoes, you have to walk their walk, and you have to come to the realization that if you went through what those people went through, all the experiences that they went through, all the traumas that they went through, all the abuse physically, mentally, if you went through those same abuse or that same life, you can very well commit those same crimes and those same acts of violence. And I realized that. I realized that years back with my friend Mario. So what happened is they ended up going to his apartment, and Mario went to the kitchen to grab a knife, and he ended up stabbing his mom well over 40, 50 times, I think is what I read, to the point where the knife would go through her and hit the floor. He left marks on the floor under her body. And while he was doing this, she kept looking at him like, "My son, why are you doing this?" And he just snapped. He ended up fleeing the scene, and they were arrested in Torrance at a gas station. And the mom still had, she was still alive. She still had the courage and the strength to call 911. And when they showed up to the apartment, they asked her, "Did you see who this was? What happened?" And she pointed at the family picture that was in the living room, and she said it was her son. She ended up dying from that. This dude Mario killed his mom. According to the police or detectives, the first thing that Mario asks is, "Did this make the news? Do people know about this? Was it fame that he was seeking?" It's hard to put yourself into that head and know exactly what he was looking for. But validation is definitely something that's really important, that I think we neglect in our everyday life and our everyday relationships is validation. We always try to change people's problems, but we don't validate their issues and we don't validate what they're going through because we judge their experiences with the lens of our experiences. And it's obvious that with what we went through in life, we would probably not react the way they're reacting. So we don't understand. So it's important for us to validate people with whatever it is that they're going through. It's like when my girlfriend, if she has a rough day at work and she gets home and she wants to vent, I don't try to change her problems or give her advice on how she needs to act to be able to resolve her issues. I just listen to her. Sometimes I tell her, um, are you venting or do you want my advice? If she says, oh, I'm venting, I just let her speak and validate what she's going through. Yeah, that's messed up. Yeah, I would feel the same way. Stuff like that. You validate them. You let them know that it's okay that they're feeling what they're feeling. And so I just stay quiet and just listen. And she gets it out of her system. And when she's done, she feels good. And if she wants my advice, I'll give her my advice. But I'll ask her, well, what are you going to do about it? And then she can tell me what she's going to do. And then I just go from there. What happened in the past is that she would come with a rough day story. And of course, like, she's my woman. I would try to shield her. And I did it. I don't know if it's instinct, but it was just a nurturing response. But I would tell her, well, you need to do this. You need to do that. Why are you doing this? And so all I was doing while I was telling her this stuff is just painting a red target on my forehead because all the stuff she went through at work now, since I'm trying to change her problems, she's directing all that anger towards me. And it would end up in a fight. I wouldn't understand why. And it was because I didn't validate her. I didn't validate what she was going through. And when I realized that, it changed a lot of relationships that I have in my life, and I was able to see things a little different. But I still remember that Mario story. That's still, to this day, I still think about him. What was the difference? I thought I had a rough childhood. What was the difference? I don't understand what happened. He's a good kid. He just snapped. And something that I still, I don't blame her for it. She was just reacting the way she was reacting. It's nobody's fault. But it was definitely a tragic story that exposed me to the violence of what a weak man can accomplish. And by weak, I mean somebody that feels that they're not validated, somebody that feels that nobody understands them, that they shouldn't feel the way they feel. A lot of society, in a lot of ways, they promote to guys that just deal with it. And we deal with it by just staying quiet. And we can't stay quiet. We have to talk about it. We have to vent. It's okay if we feel scared. It's okay if we're vulnerable. It's okay if we don't have the right answers. But it's not okay to keep all that stuff inside. It's not okay to feel that being a man is staying quiet and not complaining. That's definitely not what being a man is. And that's the point of the Alpha Social Club, is to let you guys know, if you're listening to this, that there's people out there that have felt whatever it is that you're feeling, and the community, is here to help you. One time, an older gentleman told me I had issues with women. I was really insecure about a lot of things, and this person told me, you know what, I'm gonna tell you something, and I hope this sticks with you. And he said, you need to change the way that you think about the situation. You need to stop worrying about finding the right woman and worry about being the right man. And when he told me that, I was like, whoa, that's intense. And it made sense. Stop worrying about finding the right woman, worry about being the right man. That's redirecting the attention towards yourself. We all have issues that we have to work on, but sometimes I feel like we expect other people to fill those voids and complete us. My partner, the woman that I'm with right now, she constantly tells me that she appreciates the fact that I don't treat her like she's fragile. I know some of these guys, some of you guys out there, you feel that to protect your woman, you have to do everything for them. I don't know, I just see things a little different. It's not for every relationship. In my relationship, I let my girl suffer a little bit. I let her learn a lesson that she needs to learn. I can't help her all the time. I can't save her. I can't I can't nurture her from this world that we live in. I feel like that's counterproductive to what feminists and that whole movement is promoting. Why am I gonna make my girlfriend feel weak by doing everything for her? I let her go down, I let her struggle, but I'm always there watching. If she needs my help, I intervene. If not, she figures it out. And she feels more empowered when she's able to figure it out than for me to help her all the time and for me to always be that comfort blanket. She doesn't need that from me. She just needs me to be strong and to listen to her. And I feel like society is making us not step it up when it comes to our role in society and our role in a relationship. I see it all the time. A lot of my passive friends that would do anything for their women, I see their women, in the way they react. They don't look too happy. We're supposed to complement each other, right? This is the world that we're living in. It's just a lot of things that are going on that are making things a little complicated. I'm a little bit more old fashioned, I guess, but I still like to open the door for my woman. I still like to do things for her to make her feel appreciated. I tell her how pretty she is. I give her compliments, but I don't do everything for her. I always tell her I don't like to sugarcoat things because sugar can cause diabetes, and I don't want to do that to you. And she just starts laughing. But it's important for us guys to not feel like we're weak. We have a voice. It's not there's let's not abuse it by belittling women and everybody that doesn't think like us, but we definitely have a responsibility to take control over our reality. You're stronger than you think. You can do more things than you think. It's okay to feel weak. It's okay to talk about your problems. It's not okay to keep that stuff in. Sometimes life, you feel that you're not making enough money or you don't look a certain way that like you wish you did. Society's telling you this, society's telling you that, but you have to realize that you're doing more than you think. And you have the power to change your reality and to change the people around you. You just have to not give in to what the mass hysteria is throwing at us. Yeah, there's some assholes out there. There's some guys that are perverts, of course. Of course, but not all of us are like that. We Most of us respect women and love women and we know that we need them. Look how nervous we get when we want to talk to them at a bar. Look how nervous we are when we want them to like us. We even read books on how to understand them. We even Google how to understand them, how to talk to women, what do women want, how to last longer. We do all this research in order to make women happy. And I don't care what society says or what the news say. Most men, they respect their women. Most men, they love their women. Most men appreciate the fact that they gave birth to their children. Most men aren't like the men that are being portrayed on television. We're not like that. Not all of us are like that. There's a few that are like that, but there's also women that are like that. I've worked in places where I've could out of embarrassment, I didn't want to file for sexual harassment from a woman because I don't know, society, I don't want to get made fun of or something. I just don't know. I think about it and she made me feel really uncomfortable. I felt kind of weird. I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys, but I felt kind of weird reporting it. I just felt like, wait, why am I complaining about this? So we feel uncomfortable too. There's nothing wrong with that. When I was in high school and people started to hook up in junior high and the hormones are going crazy, I never was that lucky. Plus I had a lot of low self-esteem because, you know, I'm not circumcised and I would hear girls in school talk about how disgusting that is, and I would hear them make fun of guys that they've been with that are not circumcised, and so that affected me a lot as a kid. But I'm supposed to be a man about it, so what was I supposed to do? Just not get myself into those situations is what I thought. I never remember like making fun of a woman or a girl at that age. But I remember they were pretty harsh with their words that really affected, you know, the way that I was as a kid and how socially awkward I became because I just excluded myself from everything. They talk about how that's disgusting, it smells. I mean, they were describing who I was. So how am I supposed to feel? When you think about it, circumcision is it's a pretty brutal kind of ritual in some cases that's performed at birth for aesthetics, or I don't know, I don't understand. And there's women that enjoy that, there's women that don't care, but there are women that say, fuck that. That's disgusting. I still hear it. Let's be honest, I still hear that. But my self-esteem is not where it was in those days, so I can give a shit now. But we're worth more than the media and that a lot of people want to give us credit for. This guy that shot that country club out in Thousand Oaks, I don't know what was going through his head, but he was definitely somebody that was hurting. I read this thing the other day online that I don't know if it's true or not, but it definitely was something that was interesting. There was a post of the San Francisco Bridge, and somebody put that in the 70s a man was walking was going to commit suicide from that bridge, and in his suicide note when he jumped off and they found the note, he said, if somebody smiles at me, I'm not going to jump. And nobody smiled at this guy. Whether it's true or not, it's still somebody that was hurting, somebody that was lonely. There was a mechanic, like an airplane mechanic or a technician out in Oregon a few months ago that crashed. He hijacked a plane and crashed it into an airport, or he crashed it somewhere. But the point is that he hijacked a plane and he just wanted to end it all. I don't know if you guys heard the black box recordings of that, but dude, that guy it sounded like he just wanted to have a beer with somebody. It sounded like he just wanted to talk to somebody. It didn't sound like he was malicious. And I'm not defending these people that are killing innocent people. It's just everybody needs help. You can't neglect somebody that's socially awkward. They're all going through something. We're all going through something. But that guy that crashed the plane in Oregon, I think air traffic was even telling him, "Hey, you might be able to land at this airport." And he was like, "No, I don't want to cause any damage. I'm good. I don't. Oh no, that's gonna be pretty bad. No, I'll avoid that." He didn't want to hurt anybody. He was just a guy that just wanted to end it. And if you listen to his voice, it just sounded like some dude that wants to have a beer, some guy that just wants to be heard, validated. We want to be validated at the end of it, and I don't think a lot of people are doing that nowadays. If you have a buddy that doesn't want to come outside and doesn't want to, hang out with the boys or any of that, it's definitely important to check in on them, or even females. This is love for everybody. If there's a woman around you that they're going through a lot too. I'm not trying to bash on women. Women are going through a lot of shit as well. But we just have to realize, like the Buddhists say, if you want to be understood, you first have to understand. You have to be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. And no matter if they shoot somebody or they're running the country, you have to realize that you would do the same thing if you went through that path and experienced what they experienced. If you experience what these gunmen, what these people that you find just hideous and you hate, if you really put yourself in their shoes and think, if I went through everything that they went through, all the bullying, all the abuse, everything, you would do the same thing. We're humans. We can't look at people that commit these crimes with the lens of our lives. We have to be able to come out of our ego and think, yeah, these people need help. I feel like we're desensitizing as a society, and it's been a while since we were. There was a shooting at a yoga studio not too long ago. There was a shooting at a place, at a Jewish temple. I think it was a Jewish temple. The point is that they're starting to come and come and come, and we're just so desensitized that we're creating a society where it's just another day. I was at the I was in Vegas a week after the Vegas shooting, and it was crazy. I didn't even have an urge really. I didn't even have the urge really to drink. I mean, and just to see what happened and whatever happened to that. I don't know. I mean, I don't keep up with the news that much, but it seems like they just kind of called it a day. I mean, we have to be able to create the society that we want to be in. We can't change the world, but we could change the people around us, and not the people around us, but just the community around us. Can't change people, they change themselves, but it's good to plant that seed. And if you haven't talked to somebody in a while, it's good to send them a text. Hey, what's up, dude? Let's go have a beer. Did you watch the game? Hey, I saw this the other day and I thought about you, man. I hope everything's good with you. Hey, I know your dad passed away, but I'm thinking about you, dude. Let's go get a beer or let's go hang out. It's important that we're there for each other. And I hope that if you're listening to this and you feel that you're lost or there's no direction for you, I love you, dude. I don't give a fuck what people say, man. I'm here for you. We're all here for you. Keep your head up. Just know that there's people out there that know that you're better than what you think you are. If it's nighttime, have a good night. If it's daytime, I hope you're having a good day. If it's morning, good morning. Tomorrow's a new day. Peace.